This album punched me in the face. You remember Ron? Ron shows up to this party and he has a cassette tape of something I'd never seen before, and it was called Stormtroopers of Death. And I knew nothing about it. And you know, Ron was hard. He was into punk rock. He was into all this crazy stuff. So he breaks his cassette tape out that has this crazy cover on it. He tells me it's Stormtroopers of Death. And he says, you have to listen to this. Nice. And so we're sitting there at this place. He has a boom box and he puts this thing in. The reason we're talking about this today is this album, Stormtroopers of Death, which is called
Speak English or Die.
Which was hysterical.
Yeah.
Came out in 1985 on August 30th. So we just barely had the anniversary for this album. And I remember Ron put this thing in and he started forwarding it to all these different songs because it was heavy, but it was hilarious. It was so funny, the stuff that was on here. So anyway, I was instantly, I don't have the vinyl because all we ever had back then for this, he had the cassette. I don't know if I ever even bought the record, but it was so amazing because it had, and what I didn't realize at the time was that this was actually Charlie Benante, who is the drummer for Anthrax, Scott Ian, who's a guitarist for Anthrax, and a couple other guys. And basically what had happened is that they had finished recording, what was the album that they had just finished?
Spreading the Disease.
Anthrax had finished recording Spreading the Disease. There was still some studio time left. And so Scott Ian, Charlie Benante got some friends over and within a week recorded this album that would basically be one of the most legendary records. Although I don't know if it sold hardly anything, it still was one of the most legendary hard rock, heavy, not even hard rock. It's like punk, heavy metal, psycho craziness.
It's amazing. It is amazing. And what a great way. I mean, to say that it punched you in the face, I think that's a great way to describe it because I remember hearing the lore of people. I mean, these guys, Anthrax, all of them, they're all New Yorkers, you know? And so for me, it was like, I remember in high school, same kind of thing. Somebody was talking about it, and I'm like, I got to go get that. And I remember going to a record store that was over in my hometown is Brentwood, New York, and I went to Brent City, and it's like this. It was like a 5 and dime store, but it was like trashy. And then you had the Brentwood Movie Theater, which was also my very first job ever. It was like this giant theater there. And in between, it was like an early strip mall, and there was a record store in there. I bought Creatures of the Night there when the day came out, and I went there to get this. And they had it in cassette, just like Ron. Cassette. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I had never heard, again, coming from my background of listening to Kiss and classic rock and, you know, some stuff. When I put this on, it was like you said, sonically punched in the face. I don't know. The riffs were just amazing, fast and heavy, and the lyrics were like corny and funny.
Yeah, it was like
hysterical. My first run through was like, yourself, like what is this? You know, F the Middle East. Like there were just some, you know, anti-procrastination song. Like there's all these different pieces to it that I was like, I didn't know what I just listened to.
Hey, we want to hear from you. And what I mean by that is we really, really want to hear from you. Down in the first comment below and in the show notes, there is a link where you can literally go sign up for 15 minutes to actually give me a call. And what I want to hear from you is, number one, I want to hear the 3 videos that we have made that you liked the most. Number 2, I want to hear the topics that you want us to do or that you enjoy the most. We'll have a quick meeting, go through those, and then anything else you want to chat about. We got 15 minutes. There's a link down below. So sign up for one of those slots, and we're looking forward to talking to you.
I play it again and play it again. And I was just like, this is just something awesome. And, you know, to think about that, here it is 40 years later, and we're talking about it, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah.
Because it's not like it's not up there with like Thriller, you know, breaking album sales, or Hysteria from Def Leppard. It's not even close. But I think, like you mentioned, like the legendary lore status of this thing, because there was nothing like it at the time.
Right. And it put and somebody like Charlie Benante is one of those few people that could, at least at the time, could pull that off.
Dude,
because those the drum lines that go on in that thing just blow your mind. What he does, it's incredible. So
it really is, because between, like, for me, I was just kind of getting into like heavier stuff, and because you had like the hair metal stuff, but this was like next level,
right?
Next level, but the riffs and what's going on is even not even. It's not Anthrax, it's not punk, and it's not like thrash, but it's like somewhere in the middle of this like perfect blend of just incredibly awesome stuff. It's incredible
and fun.
Yeah, and it wasn't like anybody. And I remember like people talking about, I can't believe they're saying this or whatever. I mean, come on, man, it's tongue in cheek. That's what I thought. It was light, The song on there that's about the guy's like, hey, what's that sound? And he's talking about, hey, shut that off,
because it keeps making noise. And there's like, hey, what?
It's like some studio thing, and I don't even know if that was like meant to be that way.
It was so funny. And then I remember him, Ron specifically, we forwarded to the end of the tape, and he played the Ballad of Jimi Hendrix, which was so irreverently awful, funny as heck.
Yeah, it's like the opening riff to like Purple Haze. You're dead.
And then that's it. Then Diamonds. These are songs that are just a couple of seconds long. Yeah. That's why we were having so much fun with it. Diamonds and Rust, 10 seconds long. And then I remembered that other one, the anti-procrastination song. Anti-procrastination song. And then that one was 48. That was also 6 seconds long. It was so great.
Again, think about like who was doing that kind of stuff. I mean, yes, they've got studio time paid for by Megaforce, that Anthrax was on. They're like, dude, let's do something cool.
So there was something interesting I found where Charlie Benante talked about the drum beat, which I'd never really realized was called a blast beat, and it says. So there was an interview that said he was asked if he had invented that, and his response, this is Benante, says, "If you mean that I decided to sit in my room and invent it, no, it wasn't like that. The thing was something that had been around the New York hardcore scene for ages, but hadn't been used for other things. The first time it really happened was on Stormtroopers of Death, Milk Song. So I guess you could say I had a lot to do with it. Now a lot of bands are using it and doing it really well." And it was that frantic, fast thing that he was doing was really
maybe. And during the time, again, that just added to the intensity, because that was what was cool. It was like the opening track had the big riff, then Sergeant D, you're on his list. Like, it was just like this cool stuff. But the music, man, and the drums and guitar, obviously they're powerful and they're fast. And that was one thing. I would always think, like, I remember the first couple times listening to it, the other impact was, songs kind of go and then you like shift into a chorus and it like softens up, or it's like repetitive, right? You're expecting that air in the song, right? Not with these guys. It was like you'd get to that point and you're like, okay, here comes the chorus, and then it's double time. These beats, and it's faster, and then it's like, the chorus is in there.
There's nowhere to breathe.
Nowhere to breathe.
It is just mayhem, crazy,
and
fun,
it's awesome.
Wild stuff. It is. Now we have an interesting connection with this song, because back when we were in college, we used to on Saturday nights.
That's right.
We went to this place that was called the Pie Pizzeria.
That's right.
It was a pizza place, and
just off campus.
And it was one of the few places at the time where we were able to watch MTV.
Right, because we're college kids. TVs weren't as prevalent then.
We did,
late 80s.
It's a different world back then.
Totally
and so
different.
What we had to do on Saturday night, what were we doing? Because you were probably doing it too.
Right.
Ricky Rackman.
That's right.
We were showing up to watch
Headbangers
Ball. And what was so awesome about Headbangers Ball is what was the bumper.
The theme song?
Yeah.
It was March of the S.O.D. That's the opening track.
You know, for those of us that love this classic media, I think most of us remember these things, audio and videotapes. And I recently realized that a lot of the viewers of this channel don't realize that behind this channel, there's a company called the Audio Mover Digitizing Studio. And for 25 years, we've been digitizing old media like this for individuals and organizations across the United States and Canada. So if you have any old audio or videotapes you need preserved, we can help. And for anybody watching this video today, we're offering a 15% discount on any Audio Mover digitizing service. Just use the discount code on the screen. So visit audiomover.com today to learn more and get an order started.
And it's fantastic. And I remember having they had crash footage of an old black and white train and all these things. But that was the opening to Headbangers Ball, which you guys all know.
Yep.
Freaking awesome.
And it was, and so we would,
but they were playing it to Stormtroopers of Death.
And we would get there early.
Well, okay, the backstory to that is you'd have to get there, and whoever was there watching, right, could have domination of the one 21-inch TV up on the shelf or whatever, right? So what happened?
Well, we had to get there early to make sure
we got
that
there,
we had control over the television.
Yeah, because we went a couple times and no problem.
Because not everybody wants to watch Headbangers Ball on Saturday night. Go figure.
Yeah. But we got there one time, and these people that were watching, I don't know, it was like a movie or something on the one TV, and we were like, oh, hell no. That ain't going down. And we're like, hey, can we change this? No. We're watching or we're doing something else. And we're like, that's not happening. So we came up with the alternate plan, which was we're getting there. A couple of us were going down early, taking control of the remote. Then the rest of us would show up, order the pizzas, hang out, and watch. Headbangers Ball was what, an hour or two? Best TV at the time.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
And that's where we started. As I recall, man, that's one of the first times I saw Welcome to the Jungle.
I was just going to say that.
I think that's when I first got introduced to Kingdom Come. I knew who they were, obviously, because Stone Fury.
The show was fantastic.
But it was so much great stuff on there. That was
tie-in, and dude, that's when I knew we were friends for life.
We would end up sitting here as old men talking about the good old days, watching Headbangers Ball. Anyway, but it all comes back to Stormtroopers of Death. And so I don't have a copy of it here, unfortunately. I don't know if your cassette tape, if it exists anywhere. I don't know where Ron's is.
When I moved to Hawaii. Okay. It was in my collection, but I had that forever.
But it had an impact on all of us.
All of us.
In some way, through whether it was through Headbangers Ball or whether we bought it or somebody brought it over to our house and said, you got to listen to this. And
I think that's the awesome folklore of this, I guess, lore. The legendary status that this album has is that it got passed around. And I think the influence is well beyond the album sales. Beyond. Because people that are cool, like you guys that are watching, know who these are. And if they're not, check it out. Because at the time, in 1985, 40 years ago, and 2 weeks, roughly, dude, there wasn't anything like that. And it was literally like you said, punching your speakers were just like,
Yeah.
This one has to go to 11.
And boom. I just want to drive home how funny and crazy this album was. There were 22
songs?
22 songs on this cassette tape or record or whatever. 22.
Dude, I'm thinking...
Anyway, it was so much fun. It was so wild. And it was classic, Scott Ian type stuff.
I love Scott Ian. I mean, that's how I saw that it was the 40th anniversary, is that he's on my Facebook feed, and he's just a cool dude. Love everything
Scott
he does.
Ian's awesome.
Yeah. And he basically broke out, if you guys have seen this, he broke out the Gibson V and the Marshall that he had, and it's got some special S.O.D, it's got camo on the speaker cover he's just and he started playing some of the riffs. He's 40 years, can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And he goes on talking about it. It's just so cool. And I was like, oh, we got to cover this.
Yeah.
And give it the proper due, because at the time, like I said, nothing like it.
Okay, just because I blew past the members of the band earlier, I'm just going to bring him up right now. So Billy Milano is the vocalist. He actually was then in a band called M.O.D., which was kind of a spin-off from this group. Scott Ian, of course, guitar player. Everybody knows who Scott Ian is. Dan Lilker, who's the bass and backing vocalist, because he had actually been in Anthrax as well.
Before, yeah.
And then Charlie Benante, and this is pretty interesting. Not only is he a drummer, but he played lead guitar on the song United Forces. So, and he's a hyper talented. He is such a talented dude. Charlie Benante is so cool. And so anyway. So those were the four guys that did this. We have this legendary album. We just thought for sure we had to just say something about it today, because the anniversary had just recently happened. You were mentioning, and I was like, oh my gosh, I used to love that so much.
It's just one of those things you put on that were just like, whoa. That
is one of those unique albums that you just kind of remember when you were exposed to it. You remember the moment when somebody goes, dude, check this out. Good. And then it became one of those marks in your life that you remember. And not a lot of records do that. So hey, we want to hear what you thought about this record. What was your favorite track on this, and what was your experience like the first time you heard this this album? We got to hear about that. What was your experience? What was your favorite track? And who was the one? This is so interesting, because it seems like this was all word of mouth.
Yes.
Who told you about it? So, hey, follow the channel, like the video, leave your comments, and we really, really appreciate that. And with that, have yourself a fantastic day.